We will call to order the Lee Summit Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, May 11th, 2023. Could I get a roll call, please?
Mark Kitchens.
Present.
Cinda Rader.
Here.
Jake Lovelace. Dana Arth.
Present.
Johnny Funk.
Present.
Terry Trafton. Chip Chazinski. Tanya Jonna Ford. Randy Benbrook.
Present.
Thank you. I know no changes to the agenda, so I could get a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as published.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can I get a vote on approval of the agenda, please?
Mark Kitchens.
Yes.
Cinda Rader.
Aye.
Dana Arth.
Aye.
Johnny Funk.
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
And the agenda has been approved. We have some public comments here on anything outside of the business of the Planning Commission meeting tonight. Don't see any, so we will move on to, item number 5 on our agenda, approval of the consent agenda, which contains several items. Item A, approval of the April 13th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting minutes. Item B, application PL 2022-160, final plat, Lumberman's Row, lots 1 through 18, tracks A through C, NLV Development Company LLC applicant. Application PL 2023-037, vacation of easement, 800 Northwest Ward Road, North Point Development. And item D, application PL 2023-065, vacation of easement, 1901 South River Run Drive, Whispering Woods Land LLC applicant. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second on approval of the consent agenda. Could I get a vote, please?
Mark Kitchens.
Yes.
Cinda Rader.
Aye.
Dana Arth.
Aye.
Johnny Funk.
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
And the consent agenda has been approved. We will move on to our public hearings, and we will open up application PL 2023-079, special use permit, renewal for automotive sales and major automotive repair, Instant Auto, 2151 Northeast Independence Avenue, Instant Auto applicant. Would look to continue to a date uncertain to allow for proper notification. Commissioner Rader.
Chair, thank you. I make a motion to move public hearing application number PL 2023-079, special use permit renewal for automotive sales and major automotive repair, Instant Auto, 2151 Northeast Independence Avenue, Instant Auto applicant, to be continued to a date certain. Do we have one, or should I say date uncertain to allow for proper notification?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can I get a vote on the application, please?
Mark Kitchens.
Yes.
Cinda Rader.
Aye.
Dana Arth.
Aye.
Johnny Funk.
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
And the application has been continued. We'll move on to our second public hearing, and we will open up application PL 2023-056, preliminary development plan, Colburn Road Investments, conceptual site plan, 900 Northeast Colburn Road, Engineering Solutions LLC applicant. Anyone wishing to provide testimony or speak on behalf of this application, please stand and be sworn in at this time.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you. Take it away, Matt.
All right. Good evening, Matt Slish, Engineering Solutions, 50 Southeast 30th Street, Lee Summit, Missouri. Mike Atchison is with me this evening as well if we have any questions. So Colburn Ridge, you guys have kind of seen the beginning of this as the Heartland Market came through a few months back, kind of on the beginning phases of this as we were getting the rest of it ready. So essentially it's the northeast corner of Rice Road and Colburn Road, about 37 acres. It's the old Rice Sausage Factory and some other vacant ground that's up in that area. It has a water source kind of in the middle, an existing pond that's been there for quite some time, and kind of a treed area on the easterly side. Most of the westerly is kind of an open space. And so we come tonight with this case and a companion case that kind of begins the development of this overall area. So what we're asking to do is to rezone it, because currently it's a mixture of a CP2 and a CS zoning district. And so the idea is that if we came back and put it into a P mixed category, that we'd have the opportunity to continue to develop this in a mixture of uses. And so as we kind of walk through this, we'll talk that we have some residential uses, we have some senior housing uses, we have some commercial, and then again, you've seen the Heartland Market facility that's already come through. We're asking for no modifications for the setbacks or no changes. CP2 standard zoning requirements for the setbacks are completely fine. And the density, there's nothing special on that side. The comp plan overall shows this as kind of the start of the PRI ground to the north. So this starts to put in some of the road network, it starts to put in some of the infrastructure, and it shows the overall ground as kind of a commercial use. It shows the PRI ground to the north as more of an industrial use, and so as we kind of walk through our plan, what we've come up is a little bit more of a mixture because there is still some residential components down in that area. Additionally, we don't believe that the commercial development in the entire site is probably the best choice. So as what we did is we kind of came through on the 37 acres, and so again, Rice Road and Colbert's kind of down in the southwest corner looking up at our site. The C-store or the Heartland Market that you saw is directly to the west of the library. On the westerly side and northerly side of that will be some type of an office or an office warehouse type use, staying compatible with type of uses that are kind of in the area. So to the west, we have the indoor storage facility, the fire station, the post office, and then that marble store that sits there kind of on the corner. The companion case that you'll see in a little while will be the senior facility, and we'll talk more in detail about that as that goes along. And then the common area kind of in the middle will be the retention facility and the uses to control stormwater for the overall development, as well as a good portion of the watershed that drains through that area currently. We also then have put in some residential uses that would be kind of the higher density apartment type use that would be compatible with the senior use as we start to work to the east. We have some townhome uses kind of on the far east side of it, expecting that that could continue to the east. But again, this is the end of our property, kind of where the church boundary is. Then on the south side, we're currently showing some office, medical offices, something in that version. 12,000, 14,000 square foot buildings is the idea, individually owned or individually used, potentially multi-tenant, but mostly some type of an office, some type of a medical office on that side. The Heartland Market, which you've seen and already kind of approved, and that's getting closer to construction. The senior facility, which again we'll talk about a little bit more, but this is start to see the idea of kind of what we're thinking from a use and a look characteristics. The townhomes, which we've seen up in the Chapel Ridge development and other areas, that 4-unit townhome with garages, 2 stories. The apartment buildings, which again you've seen kind of in that Chapel Ridge area, is the idea that it could be that continuation between the senior and kind of that commercial or townhome type use. And then the medical office use, which again you've seen a ton over there in the Chapel Ridge area, a high quality 12, 14,000 square foot building that can be used in a multi-tenant or multi-use type of a building. We did have a neighborhood meeting. No one attended, haven't heard any comments from anyone. So we were able to handle that quite easily. And then we are here for questions. So like I said, Mike and myself are here if you guys have anything else.
Thanks, Matt. Mr. McGuire, I think you have everything tonight.
All right, Shannon McGuire, staff planner. Please enter a record Exhibit A, list exhibits 1 through 15.
Exhibits 1 through 15 noted and entered into the record.
All right, so Matt did a pretty good job of going through the project. One thing I do want to point out as we get going is there is, as he explained, a companion application that will be following up this one. We went ahead and kept the presentation separate since it will require separate actions, separate hearings to approve each one individually. So again, the property is located on Colburn Road there at Rice, generally in this location. The surrounding zoning districts to the north there is ag, that is PRI property. To the east is some CP2 property, some ag zone property. South there across the street is CP2, and then to the west across Rice is CP2 as well. The total property is about 37 acres. Again, the existing zoning is CS and as well as CP2. The applicant does propose the rezone from CP2 and CS to the PMIX, and they are proposing a conceptual plan. The subject application before us right now is limited just to the proposed rezoning and conceptual plan. Again, the companion application for the senior portion will follow this one as well. So just kind of go over a conceptual plan. We don't get many of these. So just so we understand what a conceptual plan is, they have provided us a conceptual layout. The proposed uses, as the applicant has stated, is the senior living facility, some medical offices, office space, commercial pad sites, multifamily residential, and medium density residential. Again, the conceptual plan is not intended to replace a PDP, but it is rather designed to provide additional flexibility through the design and development process. A conceptual development plan provides kind of the framework for the phasing of the overall project. All future development of the subject site will require applications to come back before this body as well as the city council for future approval of preliminary development plans before any development will be approved. The proposed PMIX zoning district and conceptual PDP are compatible with the surrounding areas. The Ignite Comprehensive Plan land use map does identify the subject site future land use as commercial. And should the rezoning be approved, the conceptual land uses and land uses allowed in the PMIX zoning are consistent. An objective established by the comp plan is to stimulate economic growth and development through investment by the private sector. So the subject application does meet that goal by proposing to develop a long vacant property within our city. So with that, there are 4 conditions of approval here. The first condition does deal with that, basically states that no development shall be approved without the new PDPs coming through for specific approval. And then condition 2, 3, and 4 have to deal with the traffic improvements required for the overall development of the site. So with that, staff's presentation is concluded, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Shannon. Do we have any comments from the public regarding this application? I see none, so I will move to the commission for questions. Commissioner Benbrook, you got anything for us?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just real quick. So there's currently a road to the north of the plan here, and we have a new Lee Road being constructed toward the east. Obviously, those don't meet up. Do we have kind of a preliminary idea of where they will connect northbound?
They'll show it.
I know there's a lot of undeveloped land up there. I just didn't know if there was some forethought on that.
So your thoroughfare master plan has this. So if you start to see, I'll see if I can zoom in, it'll help you. But you start to see the red dash lines. And so the red dash lines do have a connection that starts to come east-west somewhere up in the PRI property. The continuation of our road will continue up and eventually hit into Todd George Parkway. And then it starts to connect, some type of a network up in there. So the thoroughfare master plan does have those road networks eventually connecting to an east-west that's north in PRI to start the connection back and forth.
Perfect, thank you. And then my other question was, and this probably staff. The new road that's being cut in, obviously, it's not gonna go all the way through and connect. Do we need a turnaround area up in that spot? It looked like just dead end. I know we're real preliminary on this. This might be asking a little bit ahead of time, more or less from my curiosity, up by the fourplexes.
Up here? Yeah, that will require, once that road goes in, it will be required to terminate in some kind of cul-de-sac or some kind of turnaround.
Okay. Perfect, that's all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Arth.
I have a question for the applicant, for Matt. On your slides, can you pull up the site plan? Right. Okay, so on this one,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, it says religious facility, it's pointing to the pond.
Oh, sorry, no,
I thought maybe you're doing baptisms there.
no, sorry, that does get a little confusing. The arrow is just for the development area. It's for that piece. The
Oh,
religious
gotcha.
facility, that's
the
existing
church.
Lee Summit Bible Baptist or whatever
Okay.
it is on the east side of us. Yep.
All
No
right.
baptisms.
I don't know if that's the highest land use or not.
Right.
Okay. I know this is very conceptual, but I was just curious because we're familiar with Mr. Atkinson's developments through Lee Summit, and they're always good quality. I assume that the townhomes and the apartments are going to be similar to the finishes you have in the other places and rental only? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rader.
So this question is probably, it's for staff. And I just want to, this is what I want to understand. So this is a conceptual plan, but we are asking for a zoning change on a conceptual plan?
Correct.
Okay, so we've probably done this before, but I'm really just beginning to, get my teeth around this kind of thing. So why would we do that now? Is it instead of wait until they come back with?
So it allows a little bit of flexibility for the applicant. Typically, the companion application and this application would come together as one single application. However, the way this one's structured, we have different applicants and different developers on each phase of that, so they separated the application. So that's why we're having the conceptual with rezoning and then the PDP following up.
Okay, all right, thank you, Shannon, I appreciate it. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kitchens.
No questions, just a statement that I really, really enjoy the way that this one's coming through, so I guess I'll save that for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the only question I have, Matt, do you have a rough idea of like how many units that apartment would be there? I know it's all conceptual. It looks like two. Is that gonna, were we thinking 2 or 3-story buildings there?
Yeah, and so kind of piggybacking on your question, the problem that happens when you get to an area like this where we have 40 acres of development and we're trying to do so many mixed-use pieces is trying to line up the number of developers that want and are ready to go at the same point gets very difficult. So when we go to a P-mixed concept plan, what it allows us the opportunity to do is to try to put something in place where we think will fit. So like in your case, those are 2-3-story apartment buildings, probably 36 units apiece, so probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 units or something like that.
Okay.
But it allows us to then go find that developer and work with him. Because like right now, the need or demand for an office medical use buildings are pretty small. And so it's tough to develop those areas until we find some users to get to those pieces. So that's kind of the idea we believe that works well with this type of zoning application is it allows us to start the process with the companion case and kind of continue to development, like you saw the Heartland Market, the people that are ready, and then kind of give you the placeholders of where we think we're headed. And then you guys get to see the PDP each time and comment on each one of them individually, so.
Thank you, Matt. Anything else from the commission? Anybody? Good? Sure. Commissioner Rader, go ahead.
Okay, Matt, I just want to ask, and Mike, but you really see this as a senior, more of a senior center? As far as this development, as a senior center, because you have the senior facility, and then you're building the townhomes, and you're building the apartments, right? But do you see this more as, is that what your thinking is that it's going to be targeted more toward seniors? Because I don't see how, I mean, you've got the senior facility in there, and I think that's awesome, but it's just like I couldn't see younger people maybe coming over there to live in a place where there's more seniors. I don't know, that's just kind of my thought.
Yeah, so the senior use, the companion case that we'll bring up, you'll see the need and you'll see the quality and the reason that shows up. The apartment side of it, obviously right now we're seeing a high demand in apartments for a wide range of users, from younger to, people that are more of the lock and go ready society, and then the townhome society that people are ready to get into because sometimes that's the affordable product that's out there in town. So certainly our belief with the medical office buildings is that's a good complementary use to have in some of the senior facilities near, but not necessarily the overall global concept. But as you'll see here shortly, the senior product it's a large facility that does a lot of quality things internally, and some accessory uses could certainly pop up around the area, which we're hopeful for.
And so you could actually, I mean, if things change, the economy changes, and we don't see as many people renting, you could actually turn those townhomes into owner occupied.
Absolutely, yeah, there's a lot of flexibility to it. Like I said, as we get to that point and Mike starts to identify his user or how he wants to develop it, then we'll come forward with that piece that
So it would
could
be, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. No other questions from the commission. I will close the public hearing and open up for discussion or a motion. Mr. Membrook, anything on discussion?
I just wanted to say I like how this is coming together. I've had my eye on this piece of property for 10, 12 years, try to develop, well, not develop it, try to bring a client to it myself. So I'm glad to see a little mixed use there with such a big piece of land. Looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great project.
Thank you. Commissioner Arth, any comments?
I just concur with Mr. Benbrook. I think this is a great use for this property, and it transitions nicely into the industrial area of the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Commissioner Rader.
Yes, I want to add that, and agree that we know that Mr. Atchison has always been, very responsible with his development, has brought a lot of good things here to Lee Summit. I'm also excited and happy for seniors, because we need that type of housing for them. And I think this is just a really good fit for that area over there. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Commissioner Kitchens.
Yeah, I actually love this. I love the way it's been developed out to the attention paid to the comprehensive plan here is spot on. The ideas placed down there for movement and looking at what else is going to develop there. It's absolutely what we want to see from developers moving forward. So I love this. Absolutely nailed.
Thank you, sir. No, I agree with all my fellow commissioners. Mr. Atchison has always done a great job developing for us here in the city, and seems like a great project and exciting for the senior living. Commissioner Benbrook, do you want to lead us into a motion on this?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I move to recommend approval of application PL 2023-056 preliminary development plan, Colburn Road Investments, conceptual site plan, 900 Northeast Colburn Road, Engineering Solutions LLC applicant.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will look for a vote, please.
Mark Kitchens,
Yes.
Cindy Rader. Yes. Dana Arth,
Yes?
Donnie Funk,
Yes,
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
and the application has been recommended for approval. So we will move on to our next application, and we will open up application PL 2023-057 preliminary development plan, senior living facility, 900 Northeast Colburn Road, Engineering Solutions LLC applicant. Anyone wishing to speak or provide testimony on behalf of this application, please stand and be sworn in at this time.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you. Take it away again, Matt.
All right, good evening, Matt Slish, Engineering Solutions, 50 Southeast 30th Street, Lee Summit, Missouri. With me this evening,
Hold on.
I think here they've got, I think it's 5'6".
first one should have been 5'6", this one should be 5'7", if that's how it is.
The first one was 5'6", was application 5'6", and this should be 5'7". I think in our packet, they just have it listed as 5'6" again, right?
Gotcha, okay. Yep, I'm seeing it now. My fault.
Okay, take it away, man.
All right. Well, this conversation goes easier since you were happy about the last conversation. So we will zoom through a lot of the beginning. I set it up kind of similarly, but essentially this is that senior complex that's a portion of that area. Technically, the building itself is going to take care of about 10 acres of that 37-acre site. The pond area to the east will be another 7 acres of that parcel. We're going to include it in this phase of this development because we got to do that detention basin improvements with this phase. So obviously we can start setting up the rest of the development as it goes. So again, zoning map, we've asked for that P mix. It is compliant with the comp plan. So The site plan you'll see here is essentially, it's a mixture of uses that'll have a senior element involved. So you have an independent living, you have assisted living, and you have a memory care facility. Overall, there's 220 units spaced out over 3 floors, primarily broken up into zones, so the memory care is on the southerly side, and then the assisted living and independent are flanked out on the other sides of the wings. There's an underground garage that'll be available under the north wing, so we have an indoor garage for the independent living facility, and then the remainder of the site will be surface parking. Generally speaking, there's 280,000 square feet of space, and the architect will come up and kind of speak through the uses and the internal sides of it. From my perspective, the continuation of the road that we've talked about with Heartland Market will get continued up to the north and connect back to the existing westerly road that goes back out to Rice, which eventually will start to go away and continue that development to the north as we talked about. There's a lot of information on this slide, which we can go through if you need to or want to discuss as we get to the piece, but what it essentially does is it talks about the memory care and having all of them as studio units, the independent living being a mixture of 1 and 2 bedrooms, and then the assisted living being a mixture of studios with 1 and 2 bedrooms, and we can start to break out and go through those as we need. But again, Andrew will be much better at talking about the inside of the building because that's his world for sure. So at this time, I'll let Andrew come up. He'll go through the elevations, and then he has a short video to do the fly-through as well, and we'll be there for any questions.
Hello. How do I advance, Matt?
Chin to the right on there.
You give us just your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Andrew Alden with AG Architecture from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
Perfect.
So we're going to be going
Spell that.
W-A-U. So I get the pleasure of talking about the building. I'm very passionate about senior living, so I will try to slow my speech and not get too excited and rambunctious here. What you're looking at is the main entry into the building. So this is a 3-story main entry piece that goes into the commons and independent living portion. Off to the left is a 4-story independent living also, and off to the right, what you can't see is a 1-story memory care. The way the building is designed is it marches up levels 1 story, 3 stories from the south to the north, so we get good natural light penetration into that secure memory care courtyard. This is the main dining on the east side of the building. You can sort of see that triple deck, the covered porches. That is directly across from the main entry. So the whole idea is that on the first floor, there's a lot of amenities, a lot of access to outdoor space for both assisted living and independent living residents. And what's kind of hinted here is if you look to the left, the assisted living 3-story is actually set down a level. So we try to work with the grade on the site to reduce the overall mass of the building as it's perceived. So we're trying to work with the grade and make it seem less like a large building. It is a large building, but that's okay. This is the looking directly west, so off to the left you have the 3-story assisted living that's set down a level. And off to the right you have the parking garage and 4 stories of independence. And directly in front of you is that entry bar that has independent living on the 3-story piece. Here's a little larger view from the north side of that second phase of IL, so 4 stories of independent living. And even though the building is a little larger, we try to break it down with some articulation in the facade. There's balconies. You notice some of the details up on the gable ends, hearkening back to some of the local vernacular architecture of the farms with the horizontal fiber cement siding and brick. And so trying to have a contemporary agrarian approach to it, something that's contextual but new and innovative. Memory care, this is the 1-story piece, and that's the therapeutic courtyard is on the inside there. Once again, high quality materials, cement panel, asphalt shingles, brick, details. And now we're going to go through the animation. So it's basically going to fly you around the building so you get a better idea of what it looks like in form and shape. Turn down the evocative music a little bit. There we go. So here you're approaching on the east side. You can can see that three-story assisted living is set just a little lower. You're rotating around the north to the second phase of the four-story IL. Parking also associated with that. And here's the main entry into that commons bar, which is connecting everything on the west side. There's a single-story memory care moving quickly through there. Some back of house area, all appropriately screened for transformers, generator locations, and garbage and recycling. It's our main dining room right in front of us there. And then you're looking at that assisted living building set down. Here's the east side with some dedicated yard areas, everybody out enjoying the weather with their pets. That's right off the apartments. That main dining area, the triple level outdoor access on the commons bar. There will be outdoor amenities, fire pits, raised garden beds. That really hasn't been developed very well yet, but this gives you an idea of what might be there. Once again, that outdoor dining space, outdoor grilling options also. And I think we end with just a pull back overall shot looking from the west. Once again, it is a larger building, but trying to break it down in form with articulation of the exterior walls and the roof, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Staff have a presentation for us? No movie? I thought I seen Mr. Atchison in that video.
We'll start the conversation or the presentation saying that staff's budget's a little bit lower, so we don't have anything pretty like that. Shannon McGuire, staff planner. Please enter the record Exhibit A, list exhibits 1 through 14.
Exhibits 1 through 14 noted and entered into the record.
All right, so as the applicant stated, the project is in the general location that we've already spoke about. The surrounding properties to the north, east are currently unplatted and vacant. The north property is zoned ag, is the PRI property. South of the subject site is CP2 zone, and there's the newly constructed library. To the east there, some of the undeveloped CP2 zone property, and to the west we have the granite store and the post office as well. The applicant is seeking approval of the PDP to construct the 272,000 square foot senior living facility. The proposed development will include the 3 different uses that the applicant has stated, the memory care, independent living, and the assisted living components there. This subject application is limited to just the PDP before us, the senior living facility, and no other lots are being proposed for development at this time. The applicant did a pretty good job of showing the elevations there, but so I just want to go through quickly the proposed materials. They're going to be brick, fiber cement panels, some lap siding, some Nichi-Ha panels, some asphalt shingles, and some standing seam metal roofing. The proposed building materials are compatible with the design and construction of existing senior facilities, as well as other structures throughout our community. Again, the comprehensive plan land use map does identify this area as commercial in the future land use map. The city has committed to participate in Mid-America's Regional Council's Communities for All Ages. The goals of this program were established to create and implement plans and policies to address city's changing demographics. The goals of this program, the proposed senior living facility will meet this goal by providing a range of living and care options to senior residents. The spectrum of the proposed living and care options will afford residents an opportunity to age in place. The subject application does meet this goal by developing, again, along back up. One other objective established by the comp plan is to stimulate continued economic development and investment by the private sector. The subject applicant does meet that goal as well. So in addition to the economic goals and the comp plans, the subject's development is meeting multiple goals throughout the comp plan by creating additional housing and care options for our residents. There are 3 conditions of approval for this particular application. Condition number 1 states that the development shall be in accordance with the preliminary development plan that was submitted. This condition 2 states that all development shall be in accordance with the transportation impact analysis by Susan Berry, and as well as condition 3 that this PDP is conditional on approval of the rezoning in the companion application that we previously heard. So at this time, that concludes staff's presentation. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Shannon. Do we have any comments from the public on this application? None. So we will move on to the commission for questions for staff for the applicant. Mr. Bimbrook, you want to lead us off here?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The question I know we're all wondering is, where's the pickleball courts? Just kidding. I actually really don't have many questions. I appreciate the elevations and the work that was put into the presentation on everybody's part. It's very clear what is being presented. So I'm going to close with no questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Arth.
I have no questions either. The presentation was very thorough.
Commissioner Rader.
Well, I have one question, or maybe two. In addition to the pickleball courts and the fire pits and all the other things, because I have clients that are looking for something like this, I have to sell their houses, but seriously, will you be having like, do you know at this point if there'll be like exercise center and different things like that for those, like more like, maybe a little bit more like parts of John Knox, where everybody seem to want to go right now?
So the interior is still being developed, but typically we do provide a wellness center, which includes floor-based exercises and also equipment. And the pickleball court will probably be located in that very large courtyard space. That's probably one of the other amenities, and we've done those before quite often. They're very popular. One of the other things that this particular operator is Ecumen out of the Minnesota area. They have a wellness program in place. So there's a lot of walking. So we really look closely at how do you walk around the site? Can you do loops? And is there interesting things to do while you're walking around the site? So we look at site amenities, places to sit, things to look at. I mean, the pond's a great resource, right? So there'll be places to sit and look out over the pond. It's an active lifestyle space. And the advantage with the memory care is then if and when you need care, you can go to a more secure portion of the building and still be able to go outside, but be in that secured area for safety. So there will be opportunities for wellness all over the place.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Kitchens, any questions on your end?
Yes, just one for the applicant, please.
Okay.
It has to do with the interior design, so I'm guessing that'll be Andrew.
Yes, go right ahead.
Hi. So one of the things most of these facilities have to follow is CMS standard centers for Medicaid and Medicaid and Medicare's systems. They have a whole bunch of emergency preparedness requirements on this. My biggest question whenever I look at any of these facilities, obviously you have the generator, which you noted for backup and things of that nature.
Yep.
Is the secure access portion for emergency evacuation of the facility. So in other words, I'm looking at the roads around there. I'm not very good at telling how many ambulatory service vehicles could go in there, but I do know there is a requirement. Just making sure you guys are crossing your T's and dotting your I's. You have had somebody check that out, that requirement from CMS, correct?
Yes, and this building is incredibly safe. It's designed, that's on the record now. I mean, there's firewalls, there's smoke barriers, it's fully sprinklered, and it's staffed 24/7. So from that point of view, it is a very safe building. Evacuation-wise, the operator does have a requirement for plans of evacuation. I mean, that's part of their standard operating manual that they have to do, in addition to I don't remember how many exercises they have to do, practice runs. So that is something that they will take into consideration. As we consider the building, they consider the operations, and we work together.
Okay, and that roadway, leading in and out for ambulatory services, I know there's a requirement per capita of how many ambulances you can have coming in for that evacuation protocol in and of itself. That was taken into consideration too when you guys developed it out?
I do not know the answer to that. Matt, do you know the answer to that one? I can get an answer to that, but at the moment, I don't know.
You guys followed CMS protocol, right?
We follow the state regulations, and since this is not a skilled nursing, we don't follow CMS. It's assisted living.
Okay. So then like you stated before, it's going to be on the operator,
Yes,
basically.
the operator will have emergency procedures in place for evacuation.
And that's going to suffice for me. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Matt, on the parking, how many stalls are underneath?
Right, so we're saying 0.7, 0.8 per unit in the independent living, and then we have 1 per unit on the outside, on the surface. But again, on the memory care facility, you don't have that need, and so it's
Sure.
a little bit, per unit, we're basically 1-to-1, but if you go and count the actual users that would have cars, we're heavy on,
So the 214, is that surface and the garage?
that's just surface.
Just surface,
So we're at
okay.
like 300 parking spaces total, and then like I say, from a actual count, we gotta figure out a way to ratio that to, if you do it per unit, we're at about 1.5, if you do it to reality, we're about 2 probably.
Okay, I was just curious on the number of spaces. The 214 looked like what was shown on the surface, but then there's the additional underneath. Okay. I think that is everything. Anything else from the commission? Sorry, that's all I have. Good. Anything else on your end, Matt? You good? We will close the public hearing and we will open up for discussion or a motion on this application. Mr. Kitchens, are you still with us?
I am, Mr. Chair.
You went blank on my screen there for a second. Anything in comments?
None from me, sir. Thank you. I think I got all my questions answered. Just once again, very happy to see this. Thank you to the applicant for bringing it forward. I think it's needed. I think it takes into consideration all of our planning. I think it'll be great for the city. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rader?
No comment, just accept, it's great. Thank you.
Commissioner Arth?
I think this is a great project, and I think it's very much needed, because we do have a lot of boomers that are getting older. I can say that because I'm not quite a boomer, so anyway, but just knowing that there's going to be the need, and then I remember as a child visiting my grandmother in a nursing home, and it was just awful, and just, I think these kind of facilities change the options for people as they age, and it's not depressing. It's a nice place to live in peace and enjoy life. So I think this is a great project.
Thank you, Commissioner Arth. Commissioner Benbrook?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to reiterate, I appreciate this project. I think it's going to be fantastic for the city. I appreciate the attention paid to the building elevations, the articulation, the materials. I think it looks great. The only thing I would like to see is maybe a concrete path to the library from this facility. I don't know if that's an option, but I think it'd be fantastic for them to be able to walk over to the library and do some reading. Other than that, that's it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, guys. Awesome project. The design that's very nice. I had the same thoughts as Commissioner Arth. I remember visiting grandparents and assisted living facilities, and they weren't that nice. I'm kind of jealous, but it's a nice place. Commissioner Benbrook, take it away again.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I move to recommend approval of application PL 2023057, preliminary development plan, senior living facility 900 Northeast Colburn Road, Engineering Solutions LLC applicant.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments on the motion? None? I see none. Can we get a vote, please?
Mark Kitchens,
Yes.
Cinda Rader,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Donnie Funk,
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
And the application has been recommended for approval. Thank you guys very much. We will move on to our last and final public hearing. And we will open up continued application PL 2022-314 preliminary development plan Arbor Walk West, 3640 Southwest Arbor Ridge Road, Christie Development Associates LLC applicant. Anyone wishing to speak or provide testimony on behalf of this application, please stand and be sworn in at this time.
Do you promise to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and so help you God?
Thank you. The applicant has a presentation for us.
Garrett Fugate, 17916 Manor Street, Overland Park, Kansas. So this is a continuance, so this is, I think you guys have actually already seen this exact site plan, but it is with the switched access on the preschool or early education center, however you want to, whatever you want to call it here. So coming in off of Arbor Ridge Road, and then adding the right turn in, right turn out off, 150. This is the proposed Casey's, which is under contract. Daycare lease is signed. This is conceptual right now. It's an oil, we have it as an oil change, but obviously could be subject to change there. Okay, I think this is just, here, this is the truck routes for the traffic. Elevations for the education center. This is actually from their one off 121st Street in Overland Park, Kansas. They have two in Overland Park and one in Liberty. They're open, I think, now, and a few more in the Kansas City Metro that they're working on. Here are Casey's elevations. And then again, this is conceptual, but this is what we would plan on doing. A good looking brick building, something along those lines. If, again, conceptual, we don't have a valvoline deal done. This is just one of the drawings we had. So. That's really all we have.
Staff, you got a presentation for us? Thank you.
Shannon McGuire, staff planner, please enter on record Exhibit A, list exhibits 1 through 19.
1 through 19 noted and entered into the record.
All right, so as the applicant stated, this is a continuation of a previous hearing, so I'll not try to repeat much of that presentation before. What I do want to do is kind of highlight some of the changes that were made to the proposed layout and some of the changes that kind of made some changes or that occurred with that proposed layout change. So on this slide, I want to go ahead and point out that with the proposed alternate or the change to the entrance to the daycare, that did alter the proposed parking. It reduced it from 44 to 42 proposed, which is well over the minimum that's required. The applicant also has reconfigured the entrance on 150 and slid the proposed Valvoline oil change back a little bit. With that change, they've increased the parking provided there from 6 to 12. Again, the elevations here, the elevations for the daycare include, the materials include stucco, brick, and glass. With Casey's, we got mostly brick, stone, and glass as well. The Valvoline has ephes brick, glass, and some cast stone. The comp plan does show the area as commercial. And so with the changes that are proposed, I wanted to kind of highlight so you can compare the two. Previously, the daycare was accessed through a shared use model with the church. That has been since updated and changed to the south side here. Again, accessing the site from the east again. And then the other change where they reconfigured the 150 entrance from this configuration to more this configuration where they slid the building back and kind of changed that up a little bit. So with that, there are two conditions of approval. The updated condition of approval is the development shall be in accordance with the preliminary development plan dated April 14th. That's the new one that's included in your packet as the updated site plan, as well as the elevations that were provided. And then the other condition of approval is that all development shall be in accordance with the transportation impact analysis that was prepared by staff. With that, I can answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Shannon.
I'm sorry, Chairman, Josh here. I wanted to point out that in the ordinance and everything, we probably shouldn't have the elevations based on the business, but rather the date stamp of the drawings. And as the applicant said, hey, this may not be a Valvoline. If we get an oil change facility and it's generally made of the same materials and it's generally the same height, bulk, and scale, we would let them move on through an administrative approval. I just wanted to point that out, that it doesn't have to be a Valvoline to go in there.
But if I was actually gonna dive in before we went to public comments, so two things if Shannon could clarify, or Josh. One, all of the signage shown on the building is just a conceptual drawing. We'll come back with sign applications, correct?
Correct. There's a couple different processes that the applicant can take to have signs approved. If they are meeting all UDO requirements, it would just come through a staff approval, sign permit approval. If they were going to request any kind of deviation from the UDO, there's two methods for that. One would be during the PDP approval process. That has not happened here, so we're not going down that route. The other route would be if they do want any kind of modification to the UDO, size, height, or bulk, or size, height, or number, we can come through with a sign application, and that would be brought before the Planning Commission for approval at that time.
Okay, and then Josh, where I was going on yours was if this is not a Valvoline, then it would come back through the commission, correct? No?
So if it's a similar business, an oil change facility, but it's not a Valvoline and it generally is the same height, bulk, and scale and similar materials, then it wouldn't come back through.
If it was a coffee shop, would it come back through?
I can take that one.
Yeah.
A coffee shop would trigger a substantial change due to the drive-through nature of it and the increased traffic count, so that would require to come back.
Thank you, Shannon. I will open up for any public comments on this application before we move to the commission. Yes, sir. If you come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Larry Ante, Director of Facilities for Holy Spirit Catholic Church. We border on the west and the north of the property, 1800 Southwest State Route 150. In general, we don't have any qualms with anything that's going on, but I would like to reiterate that we really would like to see that access on 150, the right in, right out, split the lot line. You know, it serves MoDOT's desires to have less entrances onto their highway, as well as servicing as many properties as possible. And from a safety standpoint, it moves it further from that light that's going in at that intersection of Arbor Ridge and 150. So I just want to be on the record that we would still like to see that move to the west and split the lot line right there. Other than that, no issues with it from the church's standpoint.
Thank you. I will move to the commission. Commissioner Kitchens, you want to start us off with any questions for staff or the applicant?
You bet. This would be for the applicant because I had the exact same question as our gentleman from the Holy Church, or the Holy Spirit Church, excuse me. What about that right in, right out and splitting it? I remember we talked briefly about that. What's the applicant's opinion of that, and what are we looking at there?
So when we first purchased this property, I think it was maybe 18 months ago, that was one of the first questions. We went to the church and asked those questions. Obviously, we had lots of conversations with about sharing their access, their private road, and then we were also talking about building them a road that did split the properties all the way through, with us purchasing some of the, another pad or another similar sized lot to the west. They had no desire to do that. Those conversations went by the wayside. That was the first thing we tried to do, and all our conversations with MoDOT, this has been approved by them, and we've followed their guidance really carefully. And I think the church has said that they wanted eventually down the road do a school or something along those lines. And MoDOT has, they have not given this in writing or anything, but they've told us that there would be another access point for them. There's plenty of room there per their ordinances and regulations. So we did try and do that. It didn't work out, and this site plan was more conducive to our development for Casey's, who is purchasing a pad. They're obviously our main tenant on this development, and we had to appease to their wants.
Okay, so extending that to split it, the two pads, what is not something you guys are looking at entertaining at this point? That would be a no-go for you guys?
Yeah, to be honest, we tried to do this, like I said, over a year ago, and we got nowhere with it, so we obviously had to do the site plan and move on with the development as we could, and to be honest, we're in jeopardy of losing these tenants because it's taken so long. And another move would probably lose both of these tenants that we have.
Okay, I think that's a fair answer. Thank you, sir.
Yep, no, thank you.
Appreciate it. That's all from me, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Kitchens. Commissioner Rader.
Nothing right now, Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Arth.
Nothing.
Thank you. Commissioner Benbrook.
No questions. I think mine were answered. Thank you.
Thank you. So for the gentleman from the church, so MoDOT is in, you guys have your agreement in place with MoDOT for your right in, right out. I think I would lean to traffic to say, I know that's a MoDOT deal down there, but what's the distance between that and the future light there that, I'm assuming it's meeting, if MoDOT has approved this right in, right out, it's meeting the distances between the light and.
Yeah, Brad Cooley, Public Works Traffic. So as the applicant stated, MoDOT has reviewed the access point. They're happy with where it's at. Maybe not the most happy. I think they'd prefer it to shift, but it does meet the requirements. I think it's a little over 400 feet from the signal, the proposed signal, and it will be a right in and right out. It's not a full access
Okay.
point.
Perfect. Thank you. I don't have anything else. Anything else from the commission, staff? Shannon, where'd you go? You're over there. You good? Okay. We will close the public hearing and we will open up for discussion or a motion on this. Commissioner Benbrook, anything on your?
No comments. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Arth? Any comments?
No.
Commissioner Rader?
Good. Thanks, Chair.
Commissioner Kitchens?
Just real quick, once again, thank you to the applicant. I know this has been a process and appreciate the patience. And we always strive to do what's best by everyone in this city, all the citizens, everyone involved. And your patience is not unnoticed. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Kitchens. Thank you to the applicant and staff for putting this thing together and getting it back to us for the applicant to move forward with their tenants. And I will look for Commissioner Arth to give us a motion here, please.
Mr. Chair, I recommend, or I move to recommend approval of continued public hearing, application PL 2022-314, preliminary development plan, Arbor Walk West, 3640 Southwest Arbor Ridge Road, Christie Development Associates, LLC applicant.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Can I get a vote on the application, please?
Mark Kitchens,
Yes.
Cinda Rader,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Donnie Funk,
Yes,
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
and the application has been recommended for approval. That is all of our public hearings tonight, and our next item is roundtable. Anything from the commission for roundtable? Commissioner Arth?
Yes, I was just going to talk for a minute about the CEDC meeting last night. Councilwoman Edson has done a great job leading that committee this past year, and we finished out her first year of being the chair last night. We talked about some interesting things, attainable housing, and the city is continuing to, the staff is continuing to look into that, and the commission has tasked them with looking into different aspects of it, and we will be continuing to delve into that. So that was a really good discussion, and then they explained the uses of, well, they just dug into the incentives, and the members of the committee are coming up with more policies regarding that. And so they discussed, it was a good discussion about the different policies that city council would be setting going forward with the incentives. So I thought it was a really good meeting. It was very educational and very interesting.
Thank you, Commissioner Arth. Commissioner Rader? you have
Rader.
something? You know who you are.
I also wanted to comment, I sat in on that CEDC meeting last night, and of course, you know, it's right up my alley, of housing and how we can get attainable housing here. I think it's extremely important, and I'm so glad that Phyllis and that committee is working on that. And I know so many of the staff, too, is like trying so hard to get that. And then for us nerd people that love to learn about incentives, I just want to say that David Bouchek did an excellent job, and I'm going to look at that and look at it again and look at it again, because it was, I mean, people ask that of me and other people, I'm sure, about incentives. When you talk to the public and they want to know what's going on, they can watch that meeting and get a little bit better idea of, you know, what it's all about. So anyway, thanks, you guys. I really appreciate it.
What are the two reasons people request incentives?
Pardon me?
What are the two reasons that incentives are requested?
Oh, gosh, you're going to test me. Well, because they want help with their developments, and they want help with their developments, financial help with their developments.
Good enough.
Okay. I got to go back and do it again. That was a lot of information. David's really detail-oriented. I'm kind of like, yeah.
The chart was excellent.
Yeah, the chart was,
Spreadsheet, and it really did help explain, and I love the comparisons, and just the statistics, the financial data.
well, and then just the policies. So I was impressed with that, because it was just like you said, we are constantly on top of making sure that these policies are accurate, up to date, and that we're looking at what's coming, what's trending, what's coming to the future, and that we're addressing those concerns. And, I'm guessing as the economy keeps getting the way it is, there'll be more and more and more people that are going to be asking for incentives. And one thing that I brought up a few weeks ago was, are we going to incentivize residential at some point? Projects that come on board, right?
You did ask that, yes.
I did ask that question. I mean, owner-occupied residential, and maybe attainable type housing to satisfy that need for people that, first-time buyers and, people with maybe lower income starter homes, those types of things.
Yeah, one thing that also might be useful for you to know is the city council heard a conceptual presentation by a project that's already gone through the zoning process, and they provided feedback Tuesday night, and it was best way to characterize it would be mostly negative to need more information type of response for the TriStar project on the east side of Highway 291 South.
Guess I better watch that, huh?
Yeah, you might be interested in watching that.
I will be. Thank you.
Commissioner Kitchens, anything in roundtable?
Nothing so glamorous as talking about the CEDC, but I would like to thank all the commissioners who participated in the Clean Streets Lease Summit program that we ran this month, this past month, well, 4 weekends, we'll say. We had quite a bit of representation from the commission, a couple of representatives from the council. We had a lot of scout participation, local churches. It really was a resounding success. So thank you to everyone who was involved with that and took part in that. It really was great. MoDOT has taken note as well. They're working hard, and we heard back from them that they are considering this partnership a priority, and hopefully we'll have everything done, all the medians by 30 days out, and that was about a week ago. So like about 3-4 weeks in the future. The idea is to keep pushing this and have our roads be a little bit cleaner through a conglomeration, not just people picking up the streets, but also having the organizations that sign up to adopt a highway, actually get out there and do it, but have even more of our organizations, churches, businesses, et cetera, get out there, adopt a highway, adopt a street, and be able to have MoDOT as a partner in our community and not as competition. So thank you, everyone who took part in that. A lot of city staff did a great job too. Thank you so much. Just can't say thank you enough.
Thank you, sir.
Chair, can I say one more thing about that? Mark headed that up, so I want to thank Mark for all their work.
Yeah.
That wasn't easy. That was a lot of work and a lot of weekends that he took away from his family. I know, but it was a lot, and I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thanks.
great
So-
job, Commissioner Kitchens. My
Thank you.
application is in, I'm gonna adopt my street.
That would be great. Thanks, Donnie. But I'm going to say the Ministerial Alliance took the big head front with that. And there were a couple of individuals, I'll name two, Michelle Truman and Terry Beard, that did a fantastic job with what they did, heading up Just Serve and being the representative for the Ministerial Alliance on this. But the Ministerial Alliance by far and away deserves all of the respect we can give them. So thank you to those individuals as well. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Commissioner Benbrook, anything roundtable? No? Anything from staff?
Just wanted to say, well-run meeting tonight. I thought it went really well, and, thanks for your service yet again.
Thank you. So we'll get Amy back next week, and you're just gonna kind of vanish off into the sunset?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's what I figured. We are adjourned. Oh, sorry, Brad, go ahead. What? Where are you going?
Retiring.
Oh, you're retiring. You're gonna buy one of those tiny homes and eat pasta. Nice.
Hold up, guys. I can't hear who's talking.
That was Brad.
Oh,
Brad's going to the Army Corps of Engineers.
we're poorer for that. Sorry to butt in. See you, Brad.
Good luck, Brad. Thanks, guys.